Hey guys, it's Sam back again. I want to talk to you about something that people have asked me about several times, and I haven't done it in a while, and I'm 2 years removed from doing it the first time, and that is 75 hard. And so I'm going to try to explain it the best way I can, my experience, the pros, the cons, what I gained out of it. To the best of my ability, but it's been a while since I've first done it. So I'm going to try to get back into that mindset a little bit of where I was at and why I decided to do it there a couple years ago and have done it since then as well. So 75 hard is a challenge, a self-challenge or a self-discipline challenge is the way I like to view it. That was created by a guy named Andy Frisella. And it became very popular during the pandemic. A lot of people were home and wanted to try this thing out. And since then, people have continued to do it. A lot of people have, done it once a year, part of their lifestyle. I've done it twice, so probably already lets you know how I feel about it. That I'm a fan, or probably wouldn't have done it the second time, right? It is somewhat controversial, and I don't understand that because there's nothing really controversial about it. Like for me, it's either like if you don't like it, then don't do it. But there's a lot of fitness influencers or nutrition influencers that'll say, well, this isn't the best way to go to reach your goals. Yeah, it's not a weight loss challenge. There are probably better weight loss challenges out there if that's just what you're looking for. But this has nothing to do with this. This is more of a discipline challenge, if you will. I would just say hold back the criticism or the praise until you try it. And if you try it and you still have a lot of criticisms for it, then go for it. But a lot of people that have criticized it that I've seen have never tried it before. So anyway, let's get down to what it is exactly and the outlines for the program. And it's free to do. You don't have to pay to do it or anything like that. But here are the outlines for it. So to begin, you have to pick a diet, right? By the way, this is going to be a little bit longer video than what I normally post because there's a lot to pack in this. But anyway, you have to pick a diet and stick to it, right? And there's no cheat days, there's no cheat meals, nothing like that, okay? And you can't pick a diet where it says, oh, I'm gonna throw a cheat meal into it. That's not how this works. So you can pick a diet, any diet, and it can't be like, I'm just gonna eat junk food for the entire time. It has to be like, a whole food diet or something like that, which is pretty much what I went to. I decided to do no added sugar, no dairy, no fried foods, no sweet breads, no white bread. So pretty much just a whole food diet. Then you have to work out twice a day, right? So you can pick any workouts you want to. The kicker is they have to be 3 hours apart, so you can't just do them back to back. And one of them has to be outside. And they have to be 45 minutes a piece, right? So we can't say, okay, I went to the gym and then I went outside and worked out right after that. That's not how this works. It's good, but it's not 75 hard. You just would have ended up doing a really long workout, an hour and a half long workout. So anyway, moving on from there, what else was there? So then you have to take a progress picture every single day. This is probably not something you should look past, because sometimes that was like the last thing I remembered to do. And I've actually tried this challenge before where I've had to go all the way back because I forgot to take the progress picture. You have to read 10 pages of a book, okay? And it's a book that that you get to pick out, but it can't be like a novel or something like that. Like I think Andy Frisella says, like it can't be like Harry Potter. It has to be a book for some kind of self-improvement or learning or something that you're working on, right? And then you have to drink a gallon of water every single day. Yeah, a whole gallon. So, that's pretty straightforward. You can't put anything in the water either. You can't just say like, I'm gonna, put in some tea or put some lemons in it or something like that. And then the last thing is no alcohol, which for a lot of you watching this, that might kind of throw you off. I don't drink anyway, and I haven't in a long time. So that part really wasn't any kind of hindrance when I first looked at it. And with all this stuff, you have to do it for 75 days. If you fail at any task at all, if you forget to take that progress picture, or you only drink 3/4 of a gallon, or you only work out 40 minutes instead of 45 minutes, you have to start back all over again, right? Back from the beginning. And this happens to a lot of us. It's nothing to like just get discouraged about, but it's really one of those where it's like, to thy own self be true. If you cheat it, you'll be cheating yourself. Nobody will know about it, and you can go around saying that you did it. But you'll know. You will know. And you won't be getting out of it what you should be. And that's what I'm going to talk about later. So I can kind of talk to you about where I was at the time, why I decided to do this. And I'm thinking, back to what my mindset was at that time. And I really started my own health journey in February of 2023. So about 2.5 years ago. And, really what I did in the beginning of that health journey was like, I got my diet down straight, right? And for a month or two, I don't think I did any kind of physical activity or change in that kind of way. Just getting my diet down right. That was pretty important. I saw some positive changes, and I would say about 2 months in or so, that's when I started to put in some light exercise, start walking a lot, and then I would do like home workouts that I saw on YouTube. And and so for 4 or 5 months, I was seeing good progress. I really was. And, the summertime was coming up, or it was the middle of the summertime, and I live in the South, and like there's a lot of stuff going on. You get invited to a lot of barbecues, and everybody's eating, and there's all kinds of food and sweets, and this kind of concerned with me a little bit, because I could kind of see myself slipping back into that. And this has happened to me before, where I made progress during the winter and then slipped back in the summer, and then by the time the winter rolls back around, or the fall, all my progress had been wiped out. And so my mindset at the time was like, I need to do something big. I need to do something big to change this up. And I certainly wasn't where I'm at now, where I'm at like 15% body weight. I'm not sure what I was at the time, but I had made significant progress in those 5 or 6 months. So if you had asked me to do this at the very beginning of my health journey, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it. If somebody can, like, more power to them. But to me, it just seemed so far-fetched to go from my life, which was pretty sedentary at the time, to go into something like 75 hard, where I'm working out twice a day. And I listened to this podcast by Andy Frashilla, and like, it just really appealed to me because like I was becoming and wanted to become that person that, that could get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go run several miles, or just has all this discipline, or, just eats clean and it doesn't bother them. It's just part of their lifestyle. The kind of person that doesn't procrastinate, that just gets things done when they need to be done. And I don't think I'd ever really been that person, and that was something that I wanted for myself. So hearing him kind of say that's part of this program, it's a discipline program about doing hard things, and it definitely pulls you out of your comfort zone. This comfort zone that we build for ourselves, that I had built for myself, even through the first couple months of my my health journey, I was still like pretty comfortable with a lot of the things that I was doing, and this definitely pulls you out of it, and that's what scares a lot of people away from doing something like this. So anyway, that's sort of where I was at the time. And so I decided to, like, after hearing the podcast, after, learning a little bit about it, I decided to jump on into it. Now, a lot of people hold reservations on this, and I certainly did too. I was like no exception on this, where a lot of people will say like, well, I'm going to drink a half a gallon of water instead of a gallon of water. Like, that's cool, but it's not 75 hard, right? Like, you'll probably gain some things out of this, but it's not 75 hard. Or, I even talked to somebody one time and she kind of said, well, I'm going to write in a journal instead of read. Again, that's cool, but it's not 75 hard. I've talked to other people that said like, well, I'm doing it right now, but I'm not doing it to, if I slip up or something like that, I don't do this, I don't do that. I'm not starting all over, right? Again, that's cool, but it's not 75 hard. And quite frankly, I doubt you'll get what you need to get out of this whole thing if you have reservations. And so the general rule is like, if you have to ask, the answer is probably no, right? If you say like, can I put lemons in my water, that's probably no. Or or some other questions I think they could come up with. Can I drink a half a gallon of water instead? No. Can I drink on the weekends? Can I drink alcohol on the weekends? No. All these questions that we can come up with to make exceptions to the rules of the program, and in life in general. I mean, like, it's just, if you have to ask, it's no. So my reservation is like, hey, it's really hot outside. So I'm going to do both workouts inside, right? I'm going to do the workouts. I'm going to drink the water. I'm gonna do everything I need to do, but I'm gonna do it inside, where it's more comfortable, and my neighbors don't have to see me walking down the block at midnight if I'm, really pressed for time and don't get to do these exercises until then. So I jumped right into it and I decided to do it my way. And within 10 days of doing that, I knew like I was cheating the program. It's the first, regardless, that first week is really hard because there's no cheat meals, like you're drinking so much water, you're doing these workouts. It was still hard, right? Which it's supposed to be. That's why it's called 75 hard. But I was making it a little bit easier on myself by doing these workouts inside. So at 10 days, I started all over again. And that, I really didn't take it as this is a failure or anything like that. It was just like, I just need to start over again. And so I did. And again, like those first couple weeks were very, very, very tough. And but the days start to add up. And before long, you're like, man, I'm at day 9, I'm at day 10, I'm at day 11, I've got 2 weeks in, I've got 3 weeks in. And the toughest part for me was just like, that I realized was just like finding the time and utilizing it correctly, right? Where it's like, okay, I gotta be at work in 2 hours, it's early in the morning. I need to get up and do the things that I need to do like right now, like not wait, like right now. Like I need to be outside walking or doing my some kind of fitness routine right now, not later, right now. And a lot of times when I got home from work, I was like, I need to do this workout right now because I got this and this and this and this and this going on. So a lot of it was time management around these workouts. And that part was, all in all, probably the toughest. Like the water, like I kind of get used to. The reading, sometimes, I had to read late at night, but I would, get used to that. I was trying to set reminders so I could take the progress pictures every single morning. But those workouts, they were time consuming and not always easy. And, I guess about a month into it, no, I was about 20 days into it. I talked to a buddy and he's pretty open-minded to some of these things. A lot of the people I talked to just, thought it was stupid. That's up to them, not their life, right? But this guy, he was pretty open-minded to it, and he decided, like, within a day or two, he texted me and he's like, which he was already familiar with it, but he was like, I'm jumping in, I'm doing it too. And that was a cool thing to have somebody else do it. It wasn't my expectation, but there were times where it seemed like every 20 days or so, you would just get in this mood where you're just like, man, I can't do this anymore. And I would have somebody to, chat with that about, and we're like, man, to hell with your excuses. Like, go out there and do it. And we would both do this to each other. Whenever we're feeling like, man, this is so exhausting, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't have any motivation to do it anymore. We would just be like, man, to hell with your excuses. Like, go out there and do it. So that part was cool. Having that kind of support was pretty cool. And so the days like really start adding up after a while. And before you know it, you're a month in. You're like, wow, I'm a whole month of doing this. And, I think once you get there, you're like, I have to keep going with this. Like, I have to see this all the way through. And so in the beginning, it's like, it's very hard. Even that first month can be very hard. And then at some point you hit this flow state, and that's where you start to realize like all this work, everything that I put in, this is worth it, right? This is really worth it. And and I don't remember what day exactly it was, but you just like hit this 75 hard glow about you, like where everywhere you go, people are like, your energy's different. There's something different about you right now, and without even saying a damn word to them, they would, say this. And other people that have done this program that I've talked to have said essentially the same thing, where, just you've begun to change, right? And you're now used to like doing these hard things, and the hard things don't seem as hard to you anymore, and like you're just super productive in all areas of your life, and people can begin to see that again without even saying anything to them. And so hitting that flow state was like the coolest part of this. And so like then it becomes easy, right? And then towards the end, it becomes hard. You move from that area where you're just like, I feel great, this is great, I love doing this, I could do this forever, right? I mean, and you get in that mindset sometimes. You're like, I'm just gonna do this forever. And then you get to where you only have a couple weeks left, and then you're just exhausted. And there are times where, the only thing that gets you through is the idea that you just come so far already. And you're like, I only have a week left. I only have 5-6 days left. For me, this was like the hardest part of the whole challenge, like even harder than the beginning, was just to like stay motivated throughout it. Those last week or two was pretty damn hard. And then you get there, right? And then you finally get there, and that's like a pretty cool feeling. There's no parade for you. There's, no party or anything like that, but just that satisfaction that you have done this, and like you're a changed person now. And I can honestly say that like it changed me in an abundance of ways. Many that I've still hung on to today that I learned in that, and like that's the cool part. And like I tell anybody before they even start that, I'm like, it's only 75 days. Like that's nothing. 75 days is a short period of time to get what you actually get out of this, right? And there's going to be so many challenges along the way, right? Like, all of a sudden, like a relationship popped out of nowhere for me there, and I'm like, not even looking for it, not even asking for it, but it's like, boom, there it is. And then there's times where it's like, okay, I have to be on the road for 5 or 6 hours a day. Like, how am I going to figure this out? And you just do, and if it's important to you, then you find a way. And there nights where it's like I went to a concert or something, had to come back and do a walk and read and finish my water. There are times where big storms would come through, and there was like no other alternative but to just like put these mats and like some weights on my porch and like do the workout out there while the storm was coming on. But I think you grow every time you have to go through one of these really tough times. I mean, that's where I always experienced the most growth in my own journey. And And then you have to get past the naysayers and stuff. Like this will be more important to you than it will be to anybody else if you decide to do it. And there's going to be people that are like, why are you doing that? Just, yeah, you can have a cheat meal. It's no big deal. Or, you don't have to do that workout, or this should count as a workout. You mowed the lawn earlier. That should count, right? And it doesn't. And all I can say to that is, like, if it's important to you, it doesn't have to be important to anybody else, right? And that's what I just kind of live by. That's like, I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing this for anybody else. I can't expect everybody else to understand this. I can't expect this to even mean a damn thing to anybody else other than me. But it means a lot to me. And it meant a lot to me that I went through, did everything correctly, and finished, right? And there are even people who are like, well, I wish I had the time to do that. It's like, all right, whatever. I don't have time for this bullshit. You don't have to do it, but don't criticize me for doing it or making me feel bad. The difference is, like, I got up and did it. And I made time. And there are times where I didn't have time, and I still did it because it was important to me, right? And what I got out of this was just like so much more than I believe I ever put into it. Things that I've been able to carry on even till today, where it's like this challenge pulled me out of my comfort zone. When I first started, I would not, I was doing like home workouts and walking around the block. There's nothing wrong with those things, but by 30 days in, like, I was now going to a gym that I thought, was only for really, really fit people and really big time athletes, and really people that, this was like a part of their identity, that fitness was part of their identity. And, and then I started going myself. And then I was like, wow, the workouts go by so much faster when you're here, and there's more stimulation. There's more things to look at. Anyway, and like, I started for the first time in my life, enjoyed going to the gym, and it just became part of what I did. And I've been a member of several gyms now since then. But so it took me out of my comfort zone. It also taught me, like, the kind of discipline that I always wanted. Like, I always wanted to be that guy that could get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and go take care of these things, like go work out and do these things that are important for our health. But I never had the discipline to do. Like, my mind always told me, like, I don't have to do that. I don't, and now somebody invites me to, something like a 5K or an early morning ruck or something like that. I'm more like apt to jump on it and just say, like, yes, I'm gonna do that. And now it's like not a big deal, because I'm like so used to doing these hard things, especially when it comes down to fitness. But even in my, what it carried on in my work, and personal life and normal life, and where it's like, if the grass needs to be mowed, like, I just go out there and mow it now. Like, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, or I'm gonna do it the next day, or or wait for this or wait for that. Like, the tasks that I need to do today, I just go and knock them out. And I can attribute a lot of that to the 75 hard. And I've talked to other people that have done this, and they've kind of told me the same thing. So on multiple levels, just having the confidence in myself, knowing that I did something like this that let's face it, a lot of people would never even try. I don't know. I took a lot of pride into it, and I still do today. I did it a second time. I had a friend, lives down the road. She was thinking about doing it. She was quite a few years older than me, so it kind of like inspired me. And I said, I will do this with you. And she definitely lived up to that promise, and I did too. But that was pretty cool watching somebody else go through it for the first time and getting to experience those things. And I got to experience those things for a second time, where it's like, wow, the first time is special, but so is the second time or the third time. And so much was gained out of this. I'm trying to think of some of the cons. Like, yeah, the con is like, it's going to be hard to balance your life if you do it. And that's the hardest part, right? Is just forcing yourself to go out and do these things that nobody is forcing you to do other than yourself, right? Like, if you just stop doing it 20 days in, it's not like you're going to get a fine or a punishment or anything like that, but there's probably going to be a part of you that's like, I don't feel good about that. Another thing is, like, people have asked me, like, I've seen people say, I'm going to do it in a week, or I'm going to do it in 2 weeks, or I'm going to let this line up, or, make sure I don't have any vacations, or I don't have this going on, or I don't have this going on. Like, I will be the first one to tell you that there is no convenient time to do 75 hard. Like, life doesn't stop just because you're doing this. These things in life, they will keep coming at you. And things will keep coming at you, and that's why you have to be really resilient about your time management. And procrastination is just not an option when you do this, but things are going to come up. So waiting for the perfect time so that it's easier for you, that's probably the wrong mindset altogether going into it, where you're like, I want to do this, but I want it to be as convenient as possible. Vacations will come up, trips will come up, and all I can say is, like, while you're doing that, while you're out on vacation or whatever, you got to make time for it. And if you're with family, friends, and everybody else is like on this schedule, you got to find time. If they're taking a nap, you got to be out walking. If they're sleeping in the morning, you got to be at the hotel gym, doing the workout. So lots of these things can come up. You just got to work through it. And that would be like my advice for anybody that's like thinking about doing it and then saying, well, I have to plan this out. Like, if you can plan this out all you want, but I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. My advice is just like jump on into it. Now, I will say, going from a completely sedentary lifestyle to jumping into this, it's going to be very hard, and it's going to be a shock to your system. Like I said, I was 4 or 5 months in. 2 years ago, I was about 4 or 5 months into my own health journey before I even jumped into it, right? So I had taken steps towards doing something like this. I have, however, heard of people that just completely went from, doing whatever they're doing to, going from completely sedentary into this, and it's changed them. More power to them, whoever did that. but that is not my experience. That is not my story. Like, I had several months of preparing to do this before I did it. Now, I suppose the last question would be, would I do this again? And my answer is, yeah, like, hell yeah, why not? I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to do it today or I'm not doing it tomorrow. I live a very active lifestyle today. I live a pretty healthy lifestyle today. And so I've incorporated so many of these things in that I did then. Like, instead of scrolling on my phone, I'm usually trying to read a book or catch myself scrolling on my phone. I usually try to pull out a book, or, I still drink a lot of water. I still do regular workouts. I still stick to primarily a whole foods diet. And those things have, really, really helped me to, in my own health journey, even today. So I'm just saying, like, yeah, I'll probably at some point definitely do 75 hard again. And if you ask me why, it's like, it's when I would do it. And I would probably say if I felt like I needed to put some kind of challenge in my life, then some kind of new challenge, then I would probably do it again. And also because I love it, and it changed me in so many ways, and I just love the experience of doing it, like, not in its entirety the entire time. Sometimes it like just killed me out. There are some days all I could do was stretch for 45 minutes and do like a stretch workout for 45 minutes. But nonetheless, looking at it as a whole, like, I love doing it. So anyway, that's my experience with it. If you have any questions about it, I think you can go online. There's tons of information about it. If you want to ask me about it, you can. I would be here to answer to the best of my ability. But yeah, just with anything, we just got to go out and do it. That's all I got.